Can you imagine going to prison for something you didn't do? Wrongful convictions are increasingly common. There have been as many as 2,500 exonerations since 1989. Photojournalist Sam Belk and I sat down with a woman from Little Rock working to lower the number of wrongful convictions to zero. She spent 26 years in prison. 26. While she's no longer behind bars, she says she is far from free. A nightmare that's haunted LaQuanda Faye Jacobs for nearly 3 decades would begin at the age of 16.
It was February the 9th, 1992.
Faye was taken in for questioning after a shooting near this Little Rock corner of 29th and Jefferson.
We went to church that morning and sung, and I was scheduled to go back to church, me and my mother. And on the way going back, we noticed there were a lot of police activities going on and surrounding the house that we lived in. So I, myself, and my mother got out to see what was going on. And at that time, the police asked me, who was I? And I told them, I'm Faye. And at that time, I was threw against the car and taken down to the Little Rock Police Department.
We obtained the decades-old police reports detailing accusations from a criminal informant linking Faye to the murder. Faye would eventually go to trial, face a jury, and be found guilty of capital felony murder, sentenced to life without parole.
And just like that, my life was gone.
Faye always maintained her innocence. In 2014, the Midwest Innocence Project stepped in and took her case, fighting to clear her name.
Folks don't appreciate how incredibly difficult it is to get out of prison when you're innocent.
Trisha Bushnell is the executive director of the Midwest Innocence Project, a non-for-profit group that represents people who were convicted of crimes they did not commit. Their focus on DNA testing to exonerate wrongfully convicted people.
So if you're innocent and no one ever established the evidence of your innocence in the first place, how are you ever supposed to prove that when you yourself are locked up with no investigator and no attorney?
Bushnell says the Innocence Project took Faye's case because it had the hallmarks of a wrongful conviction, an incentivized witness, bad identification procedure, and lack of a thorough investigation from her attorneys.
So basically, they railroaded me into the system.
It wasn't until after the Supreme Court's ruling stating children could not be sentenced to life without parole that Faye was given a new sentence. On May 11th of 2018, Faye's attorneys filed a petition outlining her innocence and asking the United States District Court for the Eastern District of Arkansas to overturn her conviction. Before the state of Arkansas was required to respond to that petition, though, the Pulaski County District Attorney's Office agreed on Faye's resentencing, changing it from life without parole to 40 years. Once the state offered Faye time served, the Innocence Project's ability to prove her innocence in court went away. They can no longer challenge Faye's conviction in court if she is not incarcerated, on probation, or parole. When we asked the prosecuting attorney for comment on Faye's claim that she was wrongfully convicted, Larry Jegley declined, saying she received a fair process. With time already served and good behavior, Faye was eventually released from prison after 26 years.
I was just basically stripped of opportunities, which I'm still stripped of opportunities because this conviction still weighs over my head. It's something that, I have to wake up to every day, and it is not right. It's not fair.
Spending more than half her life in a prison cell, and the title convicted felon still on her record, Faye has yet to get the exoneration she's been fighting for. The state never deemed her sentence a wrongful conviction.
I'm excited in spite of a conviction still over my head. I'm still excited. I'm happy.
Now on a mission to serve others, because at this point, she knows the fight is bigger than just her.
There are a lot of Faye Jacobs still behind bars.
Since her 2018 release, Faye has wasted no time. She now has a home and has a new job. While she's keeping busy, she says she is not done fighting for freedom. Part 2 of our series begins tomorrow night, where we'll be taking a deeper dive into wrongful convictions, how they happen, and what we can do to stop them from happening. Part 2 of this series begins tomorrow night at 10.